Okay, I got my gas tank prepped and masked, and I have my choice of what to seal it with. The material that I've always used in the past is 3M fuel resistant coating. It's about $130 for a pint, and it's a little hard to get. It's an industrial aircraft product, and you got to order it and have it come. I bought this stuff from Aircraft Spruce and Specialty Company. It's $60 for this. I guess this is a quart. $20, $22 for shipping because it's a hazardous product. But I'm reluctant to use it because I read the data sheet on it, and it's got a lot of xylene in it, which is a highly carcinogenic chemical. Of course, it's in all the spray paints. All the spray can paints are full of xylene, but it's a very nasty chemical. And then the solvent besides xylene is MEK, which is also real nasty to work with and very explosive. So that's one alternative. The stuff is not flexible. When it dries, it's a hard plastic, and these fuel tanks, if they're in anything, they're flexible. And they expand and contract with heat. They get bumped. They're easy to dent. So I'm thinking that I'm not going to use this stuff. So the alternative is what I used on my generator gas tank last winter. And this is a West Marine product, or a West System product. They make a lot of different kind of epoxies. This is a flexible epoxy. Now they tell you that it's not alcohol and fuel resistant, or not alcohol resistant, but I had very good luck with it in my generator. I had fuel in there for several months and it didn't soften, and it certainly stayed bonded. So I think I'm going to use this stuff in the Kawasaki tank. And if I feel like it's getting soft or being compromised by the fuel, I'll dry the tank out, clean it, and use this stuff. They'll be reasonably compatible. And but I'm going to go with the flexible epoxy because it's not hazardous to my health. I'm going to dilute it with acetone until it's almost the consistency of water, so that I can get it to coat every bit of the tank. You really only need a thin coating to protect the tank from rusting. And so that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to mix up a batch of this, thin it down good with acetone, put it in the tank, swirl it around, make sure the tank is very well coated. And if I want to, I can wait 10 or 12 hours until the stuff is set up pretty well, and you can recoat it again. If you want to recoat and use a second coat, you've got to do it before the epoxy is completely set up. So we'll see how the first coat goes, and if I need to do a second, I can, but I don't think I will. Okay, I've got a tablespoon and a half of hardener and a tablespoon and a half of resin mixed up together. That's 3 tablespoons. That's a fair amount of epoxy. Now I'm going to mix that with acetone and thin it down until it's quite thin, almost like water. Because when I put it in this tank, I need it to flow very easily and coat every inch of the tank, and then drain out of the tank so it doesn't puddle and leave big sections of hard epoxy. I don't want that either. I just want a thin coating on everything in the tank. Okay, even though epoxy doesn't have any really hazardous fumes, it is absorbed through the skin, and prolonged exposure to it can make you quite ill. So you want to wear gloves with it. The solvents for it are acetone and, strangely enough, alcohol. Isopropyl doesn't do that great, but methanol will take it right off. But anyway, you want to protect your skin by using gloves, and keep it off yourself rather than use solvent to try to get it off, because that maybe make it go into your system even more. Okay, I'm going to put this in a glass bottle now because it's easier to use, and add acetone and thin it. Well, there it is. Question in my mind whether that's enough of it, but we'll go ahead and use it and see what it does. I'd actually like to have about twice that much, but we'll see what happens, and can always make a second batch. Well, I don't know about you, but anywhere I go, Murphy can't be far behind. So I've got my thinned epoxy in this tank, and I'm shaking it all around, and I've got the filler cap and the drain thing sealed up real good. And, you know, this stuff is coming out, and it's obviously leaking, and it's getting on the paint. And I'm thinking, where the hell is it coming from? And I've got two leaks up here. Here's one on one side, and here's one on the other. So, when I first started inspecting this tank after I etched it, I held it up to the sunlight, and I could see light coming in through one hole, and I could see another hole. It was only covered with paint, so I saw a yellow light where the sun is shining through the paint. There's no metal there anymore. Well, obviously, as soon as I got the acetone in here, which will eat this paint right up, it dissolved the paint where there were these two holes in the tank, and the thinned epoxy with the acetone in it just started leaking out. So, big screw up. This tank is really a pig's ear, and because it's been coated with epoxy inside now, I don't think I'm going to try to solder on it anymore. I think this is going to get some JB weld on the outside, and call it good, because I think this tank is a piece of crap. I could solder it and then go in and recoat again, but you know, trying to solder this is going to you know, it's going to eat up a square inch of paint at the most, even if I use a little pencil burner butane torch, or try to do it with a soldering gun. We're still going to end up with something the size of a quarter covered with solder, and so I think, and I don't know where the fairing kind of comes along here and hides a lot of this crap, but whether this is hidden or not hidden, I just don't know. I have to put it back on the bike and see what the fairing covers up. But you know, this might just I think where they did this weld repair on here, this must leak also, because this paint's been eaten here. I don't think there's a hole here, but the paint's been eaten. So that means that the acetone epoxy mix got out somewhere and leaked on that, and maybe it leaked over here and got on there. I don't know, but that paint's toast. So this is a very unhappy situation. We can make it so it won't leak, but making it, it's never going to look like it did when it came out of the factory. It's going to have patches, yellow patches on it, and silver patches, and I don't know. It's just going to look like the piece of shit that it is. Well, I decided I might as well stand it on its end, and if there's any leftover stuff in there, let it puddle down and seal up those holes if it will. As you can see that it just ran right out the holes just as soon as I turned it over. I had a little bit liquid in there, and I had the tank upside down so it would coat the top of the tank around the filler, which is one of the places that it had been rusting. And so I knew there was a little bit left in there that I needed to get out anyway. So there we go. This is really informative in that this tank was really beautiful on the outside. Beautiful gold clear coat metal flake, you know, just like a pearlescent white paint, only gold, and you know, beautiful paint. But that kind of faked me into buying this motorcycle. And you looked in the tank and you could just see the tiniest little bit of rust. It didn't look like it was going to be any big deal to clean it and coat it. And but in all the areas that you couldn't inspect, the only way to inspect this would be with a camera on a stock. And boy, I've got one and I wish I'd used it. That's the only way to really assess the condition of one of these tanks that's as complicated and big as this, because you simply can't see in there, and you can't guess by what you can see through the filler hole what the real condition of it is. And this is just a classic with you know, rusting around the seams, rusting on the top of the tank next to the filler where the moisture will condense, and all kinds of places. So just one nasty little character here. And I don't know, we can patch it up and get a couple more years out of it, but never going to be right.